Good morning and welcome to 2026, the decade of dominance of Scottish football at Celtic is over. I'm just going to put it on the line. I'm going to tell you how it is. It's done. The decade of dominance is done. We can lay it to rest. We can stop expecting to win trebles. We can stop expecting to win even doubles now. I think that when you come to terms to that as a football fan, you realise that the club is now entering a massive period similar to what we last witnessed under Ronnie Dyler. I've said it. The club will not get rid of Wilfred Nancy this weekend, is my take on it. There has been one signing that will happen today. The manager will get his way with getting in a lone player that hasn't played much football. You can't make it up, but it's a player that fills the right back position and will remove Tony Ralston from the team tomorrow. Will he be fit enough? He will sit his medical. I don't know if he sat his medical last night or if he'll sit it this morning, but he will be paraded by Celtic today with Wilfred Nancy when he does his press conference today. Yeah, it was confirmed yesterday that Wilfred Nancy will be doing the press conference today and taking training this morning, even though the rumours were rife yesterday that Martin O'Neill would be coming in to save our season. Martin O'Neill will not be coming in to save our season. Wilfred Nancy will be given as much time as it takes over the next 4 weeks to bring in the type of player that he requires to take Celtic forward. I did say about a week and a half ago, get yourself one of those bucket seats that they have in the rally cars with the 5-point harness and strap into your 5-point harness seatbelt, because Celtic are going to take you on a journey that we thought would never really go down again. And it is no one's fault bar the board. Now, I don't want to get into the whole sack the board stuff this morning. It's the first live of the new year. I want to talk about the way forward for Celtic. Even though the comments, boy, looks a good player. We need 3 players like Sriracha on the right. Yeah, we'd do that. But you've got Alistair Johnston to come back. Is the loan signing a good signing for Celtic? I would say yes. It's a stick and plaster. Celtic are full on Ronnie Dyler mode at the moment. It is all about just trying to keep the momentum and being seen to back the manager and give the manager as much time as possible to turn things around. Can he turn things around? Well, if he wins the game tomorrow, people will say, right, okay, we beat that lot, but it is just still a stick and plaster. The manager needs more than one loan signing in. We need a striker. We're going to need 2 defenders. At this point, we need to bring in 2 defenders in this window. Can we do that? We'll end the season with another interim manager leading us. Yeah, I think so. I think that the manager, Wilfred Nancy, will not be sacked in January. He will not be sacked in January. There's not a chance. This board are hell bent on making sure that this manager is given the time that may be required. They see this as a longer term project. They see this as a changing of direction for the football club. They see it of bringing in someone where hopefully they can make an impact on the European stage. Now, if it does mean short term decline for long term gain, it's a risk that the hierarchy at Celtic may be willing to take. But as fans, we know that you do not get time at Celtic to bed things in the middle of the season. This was a decision. If this was the decision that was going to happen, it should have happened in the summer. But they didn't back the manager in the summer. So how do we think that what he's honestly going to the board are going to back this manager. I think that they will do it to a certain extent, but it'll be Ronnie Dyler mode. It will be stick and plaster stuff. What do we all think about the game tomorrow? There is a poll running at the moment. Are you confident we will get a result tomorrow? And straight off the bat, we've got 96 votes in. 79% say no, 21% say yes. It is at Celtic Park. They aren't the best at travelling, the other team. But at the same time, Celtic are all over the place. You've got players like Luke McCowan who are unhappy. And don't be surprised if Luke McCowan puts in a transfer request in this window because of the position that Wilfred Nancy wants to play Luke McCowan. I think that Luke McCowan will just go, nah, I'm not playing for this manager. Get me another club, and he will take the hit. He will take the drop in wages. I think that Luke McCowan could go down south and do a Ryan Christie, but we'll wait and see what happens, and we'll wait and see what the manager has to say in his press conference today. A lot happened New Year's coming in. I'm just going to jump through the comments. It's a quarter century of dominance. Yeah, you could say it's a quarter. Well, it's not really a quarter century of dominance. Come on. We've had 10 years of total dominance. We've had 25 years of winning the league and stuff, but there has been hiccups along the way. I'm talking about trebles. The decade of trebles is over. We could still go on and win the league, but we will not be dominant. We will not win treble after treble. You're not going to win 2 or 3 trebles in a row. Those days are gone. Those days are well gone at Celtic. You'll never see them again. The reset is real. It is that. Need a new manager. The board won't jump ship with the current shit manager that we have. Baz, it's me first chat since 2025. Yeah, it's been a year since I've seen you, mate. It's never get old, that one, will it? We need to buy, not a loan. I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I think that it's a good stick and plaster bringing in this guy on a loan. You've got Sriracha who's out injured. Do we buy Sriracha at the end of the season? You've got Alistair Johnston who's out injured. You've got young Colby Donovan who's not ready. He's not. Colby Donovan is the type of player that should be bringing in 20 minutes to go in a game when you're winning 3-0. The good old fashioned way of bleeding in players. We put far too much pressure on players, and I'm going to say it's the exact same for Johnny Kenny. Johnny Kenny shouldn't have the pressure on him of being a starting striker for Celtic. He should be a third choice striker that's coming on at the end of a game, the last 10-15 minutes of a game, to give him that experience, to give him the confidence. We are ruining our team at the current moment. We're absolutely decimating the confidence of the players. And Danny Cassidy was on a couple of days ago. He was on a couple of days ago, but I've not seen him on since. So, but yeah, Tony. I think I checked. Maybe about 3 or 4 days since he's been on the live. But anyway, we move forward. Doesn't matter who we get with Nancy. He'll turn them woeful. And jig time, says Paul. I think that they get him away, can't stand him. Do we want the manager to? I mean, I don't even think if we get beat tomorrow, I don't think that Celtic will sack the manager, and that's just my honest opinion. I think that Celtic will have a mindset of this is a year of change, and they need a change of direction. If they sack the manager, they won't want to be seen as reactive. The Celtic Football Club are the most unproactive club in the world. They're worlds apart from clubs that are proactive in the way that they look for players. I mean, we say that we look at players. Well, we looked at Balikwisha for 2 years, so maybe we are proactive. We're just really, really bad at it. Because whoever looked at Balikwisha for 2 years I don't know what they were watching the game through. They maybe had a bag of matching powder before they went into the game and took that and just seen them with great eyes. I have no idea. But there's one thing. I don't think that the manager will get sacked tomorrow or Monday. I think he'll be given time. You better turn this around. The boy looks okay, but we need 3 players in, like Sriracha on the right. Yeah, Nancy can get soaking the boards. A loan deal. You've got to think about it. Happy New Year, you, the missus, and the dog bars. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Peter. There you go. What a Christmas present that was for you. You're going on a tour of Celtic Park. You get a 3-course meal and you get to go in the pitch. That'll be a fantastic memory, mate. Honestly, you'll remember that for the rest of your life. I remember when I did it as a kid, although there was no meals because there was nowhere for the players to eat at Celtic Park, never mind anyone else. If they don't sack him, it's the biggest sign of disrespect Celtic could show us. I don't think it's a sign of disrespect that Celtic will show the fans. I think it's men hell-bent on running the business the way that they want and they see fit. And until the manager's position becomes completely untenable, where there is no chance of him winning the league, where there is no chance of him winning the Scottish Cup. Remember that we backed Tommy Burns for a few years, and I know it's changed times, and I know that the manager and modern social media is instant. Reactions are instant. You know, gone are the days where the Celtic board knew that if they didn't read the papers, they didn't listen to radio phone-ins. I don't even think that there was only one phone-in back in the day, and that was Clyde. And they knew that they would only have to listen to abuse from the terraces for 90 minutes at the weekend and maybe during the week. When you have that mindset of people at the club that know that this is how football works, they know that there is the modern day phenomenon of instant reaction and fans be able to get their word out there. But at the end of the day, it has no direct correlation on the day-to-day running of the football club and the business. And when they look at that, they will go, we need to stick to our plan. Until they are given no choice but to sack the manager. I think that even if we get beat by the Rangers tomorrow, and then we go through a number of games where the club and the manager will think that they should win. I mean, they thought they should have won against the Motherwell. I did say that Motherwell was probably the hardest game that we were going to face in the December period before the Rangers game. We should beat Dundee United. We should beat Falkirk. We should beat Auchinleck. The big one is the end of the month, the Bologna game. I think that we're going to get tanked with that. And I think that there's a good chance that we'll get tanked by Hearts at Tynecastle. And I think that will be then and only then that the Celtic board will make the decision. And the damage will have already been done. Now, there's a lot of chat yesterday. Obviously, Martin O'Neill cancelled one of his events. I believe that he still has another 2 events that he's going to one in Kilsyth, I believe. And which says to me that he's not lining up to be the Celtic manager anytime soon. Is Nancy the player he want? Is this a Nancy player? Yes, it is. It's a Nancy player. The lone player that's coming in is a Wilfred Nancy player. He's an American player that plays for Mexico. He has also played in Europe. He came through, he was at Barcelona for a number of years. He didn't make a first team thing in Barcelona, and then he was sold to Bournemouth for £9 million. He was sold to Bournemouth for £9 million, and then they put him out on loan, and he's not been getting much game time. Or maybe he's still at Bournemouth, but he's not been getting game time this season. they have had to recall another player so that they can allow Julian to come to Celtic. So there has been moving parts for this transfer for it to happen. And I understand that there'll be no option to buy because it is just a loan till the end of the season, just to give the guy game time. Is it what we need? No. Is it a stick and plaster? Yes. And then we just take it from there. We're going to need a lot more than Julian. Julian. Yeah, tell me about it. We need to buy. Yeah, we need to buy. No option to buy again. Nope. He'll be better than Ralston, says Kid Keeper. I think anybody could. Jesus, Stephen Johnston. Stephen Johnson, you're absolutely bonkers. A super chat of £100 to start the new year. Happy New Year, Brad. Start the new year with a bang, okay? Yeah, I think you just have, Stephen. And thank you. There was no need for that whatsoever, but thank you for that unbelievable super chat. I'm going to have to go right around the end of the comments. I apologise. There's 391 comments, but when Stephen drops a bomb like that on your super chat, the first thing he says, yeah, oh my lord. Bournemouth clearly want him off the wage bill. I'm not confident. I don't think it's the case of getting him off the wage bill. I think it's the fact that they've had to loan another player out, and they've had to recall a player from a loan to then put him out. I think it is just purely to give the guy game time. Seemingly he's not fancied by the manager compared to last season, but do you know, look at the players that we've got off the wage bill that I think were good in defence for Celtic. A lot of people saying absolute legend to Stephen. We'll obviously not watch the game tomorrow. No excitement for it at all. We'll obviously watch the game tomorrow, but no excitement for it at all. Well done, Stephen. We'll be able to play against Rangers. Yes. Wowzer, Stephen Johnson. If sake, Stephen Johnson. Hail, bro. Wow. Stephen Johnson, well done, bro. Hail, Jack. Well done, Stephen Johnson. Wow, mate. Wow, Stephen Johnson. Stephen Johnson, you're loaded or what? Jeez, you won the lottery on Sky, Stephen. Stephen just nuked the channel. He did. He just completely nuked the channel and stole the narrative. But thank you, Stephen. You are a legend. And I hope you have a healthy new year. And I hope that you have a lot less health problems than you've had in the last 12 months. And I hope that you, you're a legend, mate. Lose one goal tomorrow and this team won't come back. Lose one goal tomorrow and you'll see Celtic Park. You'll see people start to leave early at Celtic Park. If it goes to 2-0 tomorrow, come 80 minutes at Celtic Park, you'll be lucky if there's 20,000 people in the ground. And I want those people to come round before they get on their buses and their cars to go around and let the front of the stadium and the board hear exactly how they feel. I'm not only not against civil disobedience, but something has to shake up the club and the fans. Yeah, I've been calling for it for months, mate. I mean, I'm old school. I don't want to go on about it today, but I mean, I think that we should have been at the front of the stadium a lot quicker than what we are. Stephen Johnson, hope you're well. You're an absolute legend, mate. Well done, Stephen Johnson. You are a legend of this channel. Hope your health gets better soon. We need the manager with dominance, and the dominance will continue. Nah, I think that the days of dominance are over. Celtic would have to bring in a manager that can get these players playing good. You would need 3 transfer windows to sort out this team to get us back to completely dominating Scottish football and being feared. And then that puts teams going back into back 5s and back 6s. And I just think that the new upcoming managers that are in the SPFL at the moment, I mean, the Hibs manager, I don't know where they got that guy from, but forward thinking. He'll go on to bigger things. He'll probably get a job done in England or something. Might not be in the Premier League, but he'll definitely go into bigger and better things than Hibs, that's for sure. I just think it's a feeling that after 10 years of at the start of the season expecting to win a treble. You don't have the players at the club that know the club, that have came up through the club, that have came through the system of the club, that know the pressure that you're under from the first day in training during the summer. And a lot of players come back after the summer and they come into pre-season, and pre-season's a jolly. Pre-season's about getting your fitness back and playing some big teams, and and just the excitement. Not at Celtic. We've got to qualify for Europe right at the beginning of the season. Our biggest games of the season are at the beginning of the season, and that sets us up. It's if Wilfred Nancy, if he's even here come the summer, it'll take him 2 to 3 windows to get the players that he wants. And if we get rid of them, you're talking 2 years now to get Celtic back, and that's the dominance of Scottish football over. Ahoy, Stephen! I'm in need of a super chat as well. Last time we loaned a right back from the APO side, it was COVID. It was John Joe Kenny. Oh, the joys. If Stephen Johnson was on Celtic board, we would be European champions. A lot of love good at Stephen. Let's be honest, he cost Bournemouth 9 million, so he should be a higher quality than the typical players that we see in this league. I'll say one name: Arnie Ingalls. That's it. That's all I'll say to that one. Tremendous Stephen Johnson. Stephen Johnson, Hope 26 brings you nothing but good health, mate. Stephen, can you buy Celtic? A lot of love going out to Stephen Johnson. Sorry, bad says Stephen. That's okay. We paid 11 million for Engels. He's pissed. There's only one Stephen Johnson. There's only one Stephen Johnson. Yes, I have. It came from Stephen Johnson. And there was one similar came from Ian Aberdeen, I'm sure. The value of the player spends nothing. Yeah, we did that. Let's jump back into the Celtic news. Tony Ralston's been speaking, saying that Celtic cannot hide from their recent collapse under Wilfred Nancy. The defender is adamant that the side will be primed for tomorrow's showdown against the Rangers. The pressure is mounting on him on the manager after 5 losses and 7 outings. I don't even want to talk about him, man. Honestly, it's just when you look at the situation that the manager's in. The manager, whoever came in after Brendan Rodgers was always going to be on a hiding to nothing. Martin O'Neill came in, steadied the ship, did what he did, got the best, but I don't think that Martin O'Neill could even have envisaged such a collapse in Celtic when the new man came in. Chris Sutton has been saying in his column today that Wilfred Nancy is engulfed by a deafening noise after his 7 games at Celtic. The Celtic board need to keep this one simple, because there's one question to consider. Do Celtic stand their best chance of winning the Premiership with Wilfred Nancy at the helm based on what we have seen? The answer is a resounding no. I've been watching Titanic sink tonight on iPlayer. It took the ship's captain 45 minutes before realising the seriousness of the situation. It's taken Wilfred Nancy 7 games to realise that he's at Celtic, and you cannot lose. When he says the words, I don't like losing either, I don't think that he actually realises the severity of what happens when you lose at Celtic. It's make or break time for Wilfred Nancy. Tomorrow's game, whilst may not be the end of Wilfred Nancy, there's one thing for sure: it could be the end for some fans. And It's where do we go for here? It is an honest question. It's like, where do we go for here? Because if the board that do not like knee-jerk reactions on kicking someone out, they will give them to the end of the season. They will give Wilfred Nancy as long as it takes. And if it means not winning anything, and they will then think about it later on. I don't think. I mean, Celtic have never went through three managers in a season before, apart from interim managers, but then we didn't, did we? What a bloody way to start the year. 2026, 2016, we got rid of Ronnie Dyler. After he came in came Brendan Rodgers, set us on the trajectory of 10 years of total dominance. I know we've had 25 years of dominance, but total dominance, winning trebles. Treble after treble after treble. That then brought in the whole low ball football stuff into Scottish football. Neil Lennon came in to try and do the 10. He got handed the 9 on a plate, really. To do the 10 was always going to be the hard one. COVID year was unbelievable. We then bring in Ange Postecoglou with the prospect of looking towards European football. That was a total failure. Ange was terrible in Europe. We won the double the first season. You could say that he took a bit of time to get used to Scottish football. Lost a lot of games, drew games at the beginning of his tenure. He won the treble in the second season. He then thought, this is just they don't want to spend £10 million. The irony, because then we spend £10 million on Arne Engels, who's not the type of player that I think that Ange Postecoglou would want at the club. And then I think that we've kept a hold of players longer than what we would have under Ange. I think if Brendan Rodgers didn't come back and Ange had stayed at Celtic, I think that Dyson Maida would have been sold by now. I think that Rio Hatate would have been sold by now. I think that these players are only here because of the severity of the situation at Celtic, that they cannot get players in to make the club better. And it all comes down to the board. And that's not going to change anytime soon. But anyway, if Celtic do lose tomorrow, do they keep a hold of the manager for this long-term approach? Celtic need at least 7 players in the transfer window. At least 7. First one in on loan. Yep, I'll give the manager a buy with that one. The important signings are the next ones that he makes. The first signings coming in for a position that we're not too clever at. That right back area. Until Alistair Johnston comes back. I mean, we need backup for Alistair Johnston anyway. When you've got the other side, you've got Kieran Tierney, you've got Sarachi, who's out injured. Will Celtic go and bring in someone for that position? Because let's face it, Liam Scales isn't the answer. But are you confident that we will get a result tomorrow? 259 votes, and there's been over 1,000 people online. 259 votes, 84% say no. I don't think there's ever been a time that where Celtic fans have been so negative towards the possibility of getting a result. Usually we walk into these games and you're thinking that, and this is the difference of the last 10 years. Over the last 10 years, we've walked into derby games thinking I can remember going to Ibrox in 2018, 2019, thinking, it was a case of how many. Is it going to be 3? Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 5? We had that confidence. We had that arrogance as fans that we knew that we were a shit hot team. So you were going to places like Ibrox and you knew you were going to win. 2018 you knew you were going to win. 2019 they reduced the allocation because they were fed up of us winning so comfortably and them leaving their stadium could be role reversed tomorrow. Could be big role reversed tomorrow. I'd rather Celtic being solid at the back, working to get goals, and not just all attack and simple lose goals. And Postecoglou was similar, and I can't recall people being critical of the way that Ange played, especially with defence. Because let's face it, with Cameron Carter-Vickers and we had young boy that went away to Spain. Where else are we getting players from? Japan, now USA. Well, we're getting this guy's came in from Mexico. He's Mexican, although he's got American passport. We're about to get pumped. Baz, he was Hibs captain. Was he? The Hibs manager? Well, there you go. I don't watch Hibs. Why would I know anything about Hibs? Motherwell manager's done some job. He has that. I think he means Motherwell. Unlike other managers in the SPFL, Winfield is the only one that can adapt or react. That's an interesting one. That's a bit of a sort of... I mean, he's not a bad manager. Do we give him time to get his own players in? Are we as fans willing to accept? Are you willing to accept a draw tomorrow? Say we get a draw, and we then give the manager time. We go into the Celtic fixtures in January. It's a massive month in January. Massive. It's a bigger month this year than it was last year, due to the fact that the games that we have this year have way more importance than and way more relevance to they did last year. When you look at the game Rangers this weekend, you've then got 7 days to try and bring in another couple of players. Can we bring in a striker? We need a striker. We need a striker tomorrow. Can we bring in a striker within the next 2 or 3 days? And ultimately, I know this is the hardest time to try and buy a striker, because no striker worth his salt. And this is the difficulty and the realisation that we all know. To get a good striker in this window, you're going to have to try and get him from a market that is off radar. And that's the situation that we're in. We're going to be bringing in players that is completely unknown to Celtic. We're not going to be dipping into the English Premier League and pulling out a John Hartson. We're not going to be pulling out a Chris Sutton. You know, we're not going to be going to Hibs and pulling out a Lee Griffiths type player. And that's the reality of the situation. We're going to bring in a striker more than likely none of us have heard of. And if he doesn't hit the ground running, and it has to be a manager, it has to be the manager's choice. You know, someone at the manager, and you never know. Maybe we do go to Columbus Crew and bring in the guy that he took, you know, and maybe then it is all on the manager. And then it shows that the board are going to give this guy time. And they're going to block out the noise. They're going to block out the noise of everything that's getting sung this weekend. And if it's a draw, how many? I mean, I think the fans will stay towards the end if it's a draw, because if there's a chance of us winning the game. But if we're getting beat with 20 minutes to go, all hell will break loose at Celtic Park. When you get to the Dundee United game, Celtic will be confident that they can win the Dundee United game at Celtic Park. Another big test, because the beginning of January, it's always a time where you're over the New Year period. People are starting to say, right, okay, back to football. Falkirk away 4 days later, and then Auchinleck Talbot with 9,000 Celtic fans. An away game with 9,000 Celtic fans. Now that'll be interesting to see if Celtic sell the full night. They will sell the full 9,000, because I know that the away fans love the Scottish Cup, and there's nothing better than a day out in January on the Swally, on the buses, tanked up, no bottles allowed, no tins allowed, remember? And and then heading all the way through to Kilmarnock. Good little day out. Late kickoff. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But then the big one, Bologna. Don't even want to think about that. Don't even want to think about it. I think that the club will hope that we can get. I mean, is there a chance that we could still qualify in the top 24? I think if we don't if we do not get top 24, I think that it's only then that the board will react, because it will turn out that it's going to be one of the worst seasons for a long time. Talk about a fall from grace. How did we get so bad so quickly? Managers agreeing to sell players. Board, there is a collective of wrongs at the club. And I think that the Celtic, I think we would have. Would you respect Brendan Rodgers more if he had walked out at the end of the transfer window? Yes, I would have. But the way that he dragged it out, and Brendan Rodgers made it personal. Brendan Rodgers made it him against the board. Do you know, it was like, well, they're not offering me a contract. I'm not signing one until we do this. And the board then come out and says, he was talking shite. He was lying. That is not the conversations we had. And what did Brendan Rodgers do? Went away to South America, sneaked back into Scotland, and then buggered off to Dubai. If there was an ounce of truth, or if there was an ounce of untruths to what Dermot Desmond's statement said, the defining moment of this season was the Dermot Desmond statement that annihilated Brendan Rodgers. Remember, Dermot Desmond is the man who picked up the phone to Brendan and brought him to Celtic the first time. Dermot Desmond is the man who picked up the phone to Brendan the second time and brought him back to Celtic the second time. That same person put out a statement the very next day, completely annihilating the character of Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers has to take a massive responsibility for allowing Adam Idah to be sold and not even telling him on the training pitch. Adam Idah came home from training. Brendan Rodgers looked him in the eye and waved goodbye, like he did every other player. See you tomorrow, and sold Adam Idah behind his back. Adam Idah was preparing for the game at the weekend. He thought he was going to be playing at Celtic that weekend. He gets home and gets told by his agent, Celtic have just accepted an offer for you, you're gone. Okay. There's nothing you could do. Club holds all the cards. You don't make a song and dance about it, you just go. It's your job. Shit happens in football. But then for us not to have a replacement, guaranteed, deal done, falls on the board and Nicholson. And it was a complete shambles. It was a collective that's got us into this position. It's not just one person. It's not just Dermot Desmond. It's not just the board. Do you know, it is a collective of everyone at the club. Now, the club can turn around and say, we can learn. We can learn from this. We can learn from our mistakes. Give us time. Give us time to learn. Give us time to go forward. The board sold Adam Idah, not Rodgers, says Docboy67. The manager has to allow a player to be sold. If the board are just going out, if the board are going behind a manager's back and selling players behind the manager's back, Rodgers should have stepped down then. And if that's the case, what Dermot Desmond put out in the Celtic statement is a complete lie. And I don't think that someone of Dermot Desmond's stature, business acumen, and would put out a fabricated statement. He doesn't need to. He's a billionaire. But anyway, they shafted, fucked Rodgers as well. Yeah, they shafted us and fucked Rodgers. This is very, very true. Right, apologies. I'm going to jump through the comments. There's 581. There's another super chat came in. If Nancy stays, the boards have to back him. If they're not backing him, sack him. Yeah, that's pretty much what Chris Sutton said as well. If they don't back him, sack him. And I think the board will sack him. Can see us getting a red card tomorrow. Ooh, I think so. This has got New Year's Day night. Oh, don't say that. Happy New Year to all Celtic fans. Says Tony. Morning, Scott. Says Stephen Johnson. Says Scott. 6, 7 players playing for their future. I don't think so. We cannot afford to get rid of 6 or 7 players at the club. We would then need to go out. We do not have the money to bring in the level of player if we get rid of 6 or 7 players. Paul Baird says it's already broken under Nancy. Although the negativity started from Paul. That's it. The manager's doomed. The manager is doomed. I'm trying to see what. Paul, tell me how much longer are you still backing the manager, or is that it? Is that have you had enough of him already? You were the man who said that we needed rid of Rodgers. You stuck by your guns for 2.5 years. Have you given Wilfred Nancy enough time, or have you seen enough of Nancy? The board let Lennon live longer than needed. The second time, sacrificed the 10 in a row. Not said Nancy out this morning, so Nancy out. Hope the fans are stocked up with Mars bars. Sutton and Stewart to talk about too much the wrong things, where support is needed. Celtic 3, Rangers 1. Oh, where's the goals coming from? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if the team. It depends on the manager. It depends on the formation. If we play Rio Hitati through the middle, I think it's crazy. I'm still lost at the Motherwell game. Playing Rio Hitati through the middle, then changing it to Dyson Maeda. Starting out the first 5 minutes of the game with a 4 at the back. Having the 4 players train as a 4 at the back in the warm-up. Changing it to a 3 at the back within 5-10 minutes. Pushing Kieran Tierney further forward. And then ultimately pushing Kieran Tierney up as some sort of winger. Nancy win, lose or draw couldn't manage a distributed team. When Calmack does the huddle tomorrow before kick-off, he should say, forget what he said in the dressing room, do what you're good at. Yes, I do. If Nancy had any integrity and interest of the good of the club, he'd resign. He doesn't care about the good of Celtic. He's here to do a job, and that's it. He's here to try and make it. He's trying to enhance his reputation. He'll be thinking, I'm not quitting. I've never quitted anything in my life. I've been up against it many times in my life. That's the mindset that you get from Wilfred Nancy. He's not a quitter. He might be a sacker. He might be one for the sack, but he's not a quitter. He will not quit. He will not go, do you know what? I mean, Ronnie Dyler didn't quit. Ronnie Dyler got to a point of the season where we knew that he wasn't going to be the manager the next season. We knew that he was going to be leaving Celtic. And I think that, that's where we are with this manager. He'll be given time, just like, I'm going to say it, he'll be given time like Ronnie, and the Celtic board will go, look, we've been through this before. Ronnie wasn't liked by the fans. The fans didn't turn up in numbers. There was a big section of Celtic Park that was closed for that season. We will give the managers to the end of the season, because if we get too reactive as a club, and we start sacking managers like that, what big name manager, if we're ever going to go down that road again, what manager worth his salt? I think that the damage done to Celtic's reputation under Brendan Rodgers, people will look at what Brendan Rodgers came in and did to the club. Yeah, they took Celtic, they made them, they won trebles, but they failed on a European context to make any kind of impact. Now, by impact, I'm talking about Europa. We should be top 8 in Europa. That's where I believe Celtic should be. We should be a top 8 Europa League club. But we're not. And maybe that's a bit of a realisation of where we are in a European football context. It then shows us that you might have 25 years of domination in Scottish football, but it means absolutely nada when it comes to a European context. Because from a European point of view, we are woeful. We are so bad, it is unbelievable. It's a case of no European team fears coming to Celtic Park anymore. No Scottish team fears coming to Celtic Park. And I'm not just talking about the players. The atmosphere is nothing. I seen a thing yesterday, Liverpool fans complaining about Anfield and how Anfield is not the fortress in the stands that it used to once be. Do you know, the fans don't sing and for the whole 90 minutes. The modern football fan has been brainwashed into sitting on their nice comfy plastic seat that's freezing cold in the winter, which then gets people going, do you know what, I'm going to go and get one of those leather seats because they're a bit comfier. It's going to be a bit more, it's a bit pricey, but I'm at the stage in my life where, do you know what, I deserve that. I've worked hard all my life. I deserve one of those leather seats at Celtic Park. You know, that's a little give back to me. I understand why people do it. I've done it myself. But as football fans, we've been told there's an announcement every day, every game. Here's your safety announcement. Sit down, shut up, don't sing bad songs, and just enjoy yourself. And as the fan base gets older, you know, more and more people don't want to stand during the game, and the atmosphere dies. And that's where we are at Celtic. Complaining that the Green Brigade and the boys aren't there, it shows the reliance on the Green Brigade and the boys. Celtic never used to rely on one section of a support to give the stadium the fear factor. And people will say, well, it's the players that need to get us singing. There's nothing to sing about just now. This isn't a reactionary thing to what's happening just now. This has been years in the making, fans not having Celtic Park as a cauldron of noise. We've had 5 years of Glasgow derbies, which have been such big one-sided affair that the game itself has become an irrelevance on the world stage due to the fact of the no atmosphere. Now, whilst a lot of Celtic fans at the time would have went, do you know what, we don't need them back in the stadium. We don't want them back in the stadium. I don't think that we fully appreciated the level of decline that we would go through by not having 7,500 Rangers fans at a game, but not having 7,500 fans at Ibrox, but not having 5,500 or whatever it was at the games in Edinburgh. It's took away the atmosphere. We're killing our own game without even realising it. And it's the powers that be that are in control of every single club and the SPFL and the SFA that are inadvertently killing the Scottish game. And we're just to sit there, shut up, pay our money, and be left arguing amongst ourselves And that's the current state of Scottish football. But when it comes to Celtic, are you confident about getting the result tomorrow? It's only been 373 votes, but there's been 1,700, 1,800 people online. 83% say no, they are not confident about tomorrow. 17% say yes, they are confident about tomorrow. Give me some positive in the comments. Potentially think 2 red cards for a nah. Trusty and Tierney. Ask Owen Quinn if you would record or take Celtic at the end of the season. Nah, I don't think that's the answer. Hi Stephen, love this channel. Engels is pish. As much as I want us to win tomorrow, the only problem is that is the board's eyes. It buys him more time. Even if we get beat tomorrow, he will not be leaving. Ange told us not to expect to keep our best players. Yeah, but they're still here, some of them, aren't they? Engels is Massimo Donati. Ooh. Super Massimo Donati. We went from we never stop to we never start. But that's not just this season. We scrambled over the line last season. It was not a convincing end to the season by far. We didn't steamroller. The signs were there last season. The signs were there for what we were to expect this season. The decline in the football under Brendan Rodgers was all there for us to see. Side to side passing stuff last season continued into this season. Fans grumbling about the style of play. Manager grumbling about not getting in players. How do I get to a wedding where Dermot is there so I can talk to him? Chance to become a director of football at Celtic. An academy graduate who probably looks great on paper, hits top numbers on training, can't produce the same in the park. Spending millions on Nancy will be the end of the dominance. Ooh. Buy Saracchi if possible, yes. Yep. Ralston's not the problem in the back four. Leave that one there. Spending 100 million doesn't bring you success in Europe. There's at least 30 teams out there spending at least that amount. This is very true. It doesn't buy you success in a European context. You have to have a manager that can get the best out of his players. Now, is Wilfred Nancy the type of manager that can change things about quick enough in games? Let's look at the evidence. Yes, this might be controversial, but under Ange Postecoglou, we played the one system, and he wouldn't deviate from that. Under Brendan Rodgers, it was all about control of the game. It was all about keeping the ball. Side to side passing stuff, changing point of attack. We know the script. We've been there and done it. Wilfred Nancy's came in. We've all cried out for a change of formation, a change of tactics. Wilfred Nancy's come in and said, right, we're going to attack the ball. We're going to put, 5 along the middle, or whatever, and try and just go forward. But you need really good defenders with pace. Tony Ralston has neither. He lacks ability and he lacks pace. It's been shown in games. Tony Ralston's is a good player when you play in a back four. We don't have the players at the moment to play that way. I detest Nancy. I'd take a draw there now. I would take a draw there now. I detest the board. I'm trying to see if Paul's put up another thing. Do I suffer publicly or do I go to the pub and suffer in silence? That is the question. And then if I was to go to the pub, I'd probably do sort of a thing outside the pub at half time. I don't. Yes, but I don't think I'll be able to do the unveiling of the team due to my mother arriving, and I need to go to the airport and pick her up. And the time that she arrives is roughly about time that I would be going live with the team. So let me figure out all the times this afternoon. But yeah, I think that I could be doing a watch along. I should really. I should just do a watch along. I mean, I shouldn't go hiding. And it's only them. I think I missed. I think I didn't do a watch along for the last one. Watch along from behind the couch. Yeah, tell me about it. Not looking forward to tomorrow. Got the feeling that we're going to get spanked, but who knows? Might just play 7 at the back. Oh, this is very true. Carmack and a couple of senior players should disregard Nancy and revert to a 4-3-3. And I can see us getting pumped off them. But if we revert to a 4-3-3, that's what we wanted rid of. We wanted rid of that formation. You know, as fans, we're now being hypocritical. The fact the striker hasn't been signed before the derby shows incompetence. The Tisdale are both embarrassing. I think so. I think that we should. It's hard to get a striker in at this stage of the window, and it is one of the hardest positions to try and get a player in at the best of times. Never mind a good one. Rodgers and Ange, terrible in Europe. You can't play the same way as you do in your own league. Yes, and you know, maybe this is the manager that we need to just give him time. And I know it's hard. I know that listen, getting beat by Motherwell is unacceptable. But if going forward, can he turn the corner? And if not, the damage is done this season. It's, you know, we could have still won something if we'd won some of the 5 games, but I think that the board will look at it. Let's take it on the chin, give them to the end of the season. I'd take a draw now. The ball is a ball, straight from the ball bag's mouth. Take anything and get beat. Take anything rather than get beat. So, must not lose tomorrow. Yep. Let's hope this signing will be worth more than an American passport is worth at the moment. Put a poll up. Are you happy with the draw? Yes or no? Are you confident we'll get a result tomorrow? You know, I think that's a bigger one. It's had 408. I'm just going to run with that one. They're still as bad as us. Our collapse has made them look good. It has. It has. Get Martin out to the end of the season. But then that does nothing going forward. We walk into the summer with a manager that has to come in the first day of training, has to evaluate the players in the summer, has to try and assemble a team to qualify for Europe, be whatever competition. The summer's too late, in my opinion. If anything, as soon as we get put out Europe, and as soon as we get put out the Scottish Cup, that is the time to get rid of Wilfred Nancy. The season's done then. Giving them till the end of the season is nothing. But giving Martin O'Neill until the summer is a stick and plaster. It's no better than the stick and plaster of bringing in a lone player to cover for players that are out injured. You know, it might make us feel good. You know, it might give us some credibility back. But long term, it's not the answer. If you want the board to come out with a 3 and 5 year plan, there is no part of a 3 or 5 year plan that would say sack the manager and, you know, sack the manager, bring an interim manager, and then delay things till the summer. It's not a good business model. But anyway, I'm trying to find if Paul's done another comment. Nancy stays, the board should back him if they don't sack him. Yep. I'm not confident they could beat anyone. Nope, neither am I. But it just says it would help if we put the game on sale. Are you talking about the Auchinleck tickets? They'll not go on public sale. There'll not be a public sale for the Auckland Talbot game. Their fans will be the 12 fans tomorrow. Meanwhile, we'll be sitting in silence with no Green Brigade. It's going to be horrible. Yep. Sleepy Tisdale owns Celtic. Brendan Rodgers to destroy the team before he left. Brendan Rodgers decided. Yeah, there you go. Brendan Rodgers, Paul Baird says, decided to destroy the team before he left. In more ways than one. I think Brendan knew what was coming and fucked it off. I don't think he knew what was coming. I think that he knew it was going to be ugly. Paul Baird has helped destroying our club with all these comments. Joseph, I've seen some of your close comments. Come on. I've seen the negativity come out of you. No way am I blaming Rodgers. To me, as much of a victim than Adamida. Come on, Michelle. Rodgers threw the whole team under the fucking Honda Civic. You can't be calling players Honda Civics. Brendan Rodgers completely threw the team under the bus. Board apologist? Who's a board apologist? I'm not a board apologist. Jesus God, I've been called many things on this channel, but never a board apologist. Absolutely talking pish about Rodgers. Oh, well. We all have different opinions. That's what it's called. The One Celtic Fans Views at the Pope in town. God bless everyone. Happy New Year. The board promised Brendan the world if he sold Adamida and then backtracked. Come on, you can't promise the manager the world with 2 days left to go in the transfer window, Michelle. Come on. We hadn't replaced Keogh. The madness needs to stop. Everyone just take your big grumpy pants off this morning and stop and think about what you are saying. We didn't replace Kyogo Furiashi. We brought Shin Yamada was never a replacement for Kyogo Furiashi. Inamura was brought in. Inamura's getting sent back to Japan in the next window. The manager has to put pressure on the club way before 2 days before the end of the window. Do you know, the manager didn't push things as hard as he maybe should have, and the board were unacceptable. But saying that they promised him the world, no Celtic manager has ever been promised the world by this Celtic board, that's for sure. There's a level of player for this system. No other teams are playing with one at the back. We were winning 3-1 tomorrow. Johnny Kennedy score. As long as it's not Hatate through the middle, I think that we could do well. Wilfred Nancy should just let Calmack pick the team. That's probably one of the best comments of the day. Nancy isn't enhancing anything. Does he not understand Celtic DNA? Controversial. I would say that he does. Attacking football. But he plays an attacking football that doesn't have a defence. And there then lies the problem, the issue. But the first signing that he's making is a defender, even if it's only on loan to the end of the season, which means that the manager is addressing the elephant in the room, and that the manager has he's not drinking cold coffee like me. I'm drinking Martin O'Neill's coffee that he left in London. It's probably warmer because it had been nuked in London. Player revolt is what we need. Do you think that a multi-million-pound contract has something to do with it? How many managers long-term deals resign? Never. This is true. That's why he's the wrong manager for us. We need a manager who lives and breathes Celtic, understands what it means to manage a team like us. Well, that takes away the majority of good managers that's going to do anything in Europe. If you want to bring in a manager like that, who lives, breathes, and understands Celtic, we continue to do nothing in Europe. I want a manager that knows how to win football games, that knows what it means to play at a big club. Take away this love for Celtic stuff. We've had years of it. The last manager that knew what Celtic was about and that got a decent result in Europe was Lenny against Barcelona, and that was 10 years ago. We brought in Brendan Rodgers because he had loved Celtic. That didn't work in Europe. Rodgers was shite in Europe his first time round, and he was shite in Europe his second time round. Ange was brought in with the promise by the board to give him everything that he wants to succeed in Europe. But Ange was woeful in Europe. We then bring Brendan back. We brought Neil Lennon back. We're going round in circles bringing in managers with a love fest for Celtic. We need a good manager that knows how to play good football, good defensive attacking football, that can change his system, and that doesn't have... I'm not caring if it doesn't have an affiliation to Celtic. As long as he comes in and he knows what and that is not pig-headed. Some people say that, the best managers are pig-headed. You could say that's true. Wilfred Nancy has been pig-headed. Anyway, it's been a fantastic morning full of debate. I'm going to apologise because there's 845 comments. I'm not reading them all. I'm going to jump right to the end. Apologies if I've missed out your comments. That would be brilliant, mate. Bring in Angelotti. His wages are too high, trust me. Anyway, if you persist with three at the back, we are done. Are we, though? Martin O'Neill played with three at the back. We weren't done. It's personnel that we need. It's personnel to play the three at the back. If you get in three solid defenders that can play a three in the back system, I mean, missing Alistair Johnston fits into this manager's system perfectly. Although you've got people in the Scottish media said, where does Ali Johnston fit in? He doesn't know how to play this system. He played it under the manager in Montreal, in Canada. It was the same manager that played him in that system that made him the player that he was for Canada when he had an amazing World Cup for Canada. And they got Celtic buying the player then. I think that we just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Take it on the chin. Martin O'Neill would play the flat, not a basketball setup. Trusty's left on his own. Trusty's not the answer though, is he? And neither is Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think that we need to go out and we need two defenders this window. I think three at the back will work fine with the right players. I think so. We all wanted three at the back. Do you know, this is the craziness. This is the craziness behind it. But we're all talking about a 3-5-2. Let's get rid of Brendan Rodgers. Let's get rid of this 4-3-3. Now everyone in the chat's going, bring back the 4-3-3. We need to play the 4-3-3. How fickle. How fickle. Welcome to 2026 and the impending implosion of Celtic fans. We need a manager with domestic and a European vision. Yes, exactly. We need a manager that can come in, but the board will say that Wilfred Nancy ticked all those boxes. He took a team to the later stages of the Champions League in North America. Ticks a box, doesn't it? Knows how to do it on a sort of a non-domestic front. He's won leagues in Canada. He's won stuff in America. Okay, knows how to win. Right? Ticks all the boxes. Ronnie Dyler ticked all the boxes. I don't know. But anyway, Italia cannot play tomorrow. I want to see. Yeah. Have you ever noticed that Nancy's got himself a gig on the advert drink? You'll see it straight away. Italia can get the fuck. Um, I will be doing a live at 8 p.m. tonight. I don't usually do one on a Friday, but given the importance of the manager's speech to the media this weekend, today, and it'll be interesting to see what players that Celtic put out to face the media. Will it be the captain? Will the captain speak to the media? Barry Robson for next Celtic manager? Nah, he couldn't do it at Rafe Rovers, mate. Um, that's really going backwards. Rangers will drive a Honda through us tomorrow. Get Lenny back. Bish. The man that sold the 10. Not a chance. Not a chance. Engels, McGregor, McCowan starting tomorrow. Benji. I think that Rio Taki will still start. Stand by 3-5-2 or 3-1-4-2. Definitely two up front. Yes, I've been saying that for a long time. Celtic as a football club need to be playing two up front. It's in our DNA. People talking about, oh, you need a manager that understands the DNA of Celtic. The DNA of Celtic Football Club is two strikers. Forget all this fancy antics of modern football managers that say, no, you need one central striker and then two wingers to come in. No. Scottish football, you needed good old fashioned two strikers in the middle of the box, because there's no other league in the world that every single game that you play at has a defence of 5 to 6 players in the box every single game, and that's what Celtic face. Anyway, let's end the poll this morning. It's been 459 votes. Are you confident we will get a result tomorrow? 17% say yes, 83% say no, and that is done and dusted. Let me just jump onto Celtic news and just see if there's any update on Celtic. Bringing in any other players today. Looks like it will just be the one Bournemouth loanee coming into Celtic. Is he fit enough for this game tomorrow? Can he make an impact? There has been players that have came in on the first game of January and made an impact over the years at Celtic. And can this be the guy to ultimately do an SOS? If we get 3 solid defenders, we can always dream at the beginning of the year. You know, it's always about aspirations for the year ahead, and maybe it is just an aspirations that is an aspiration of mine that we have 3 solid defenders that can do anything that Celtic managers want them to do. We won't win anything this season. The board have been directed by Desmond to bring the fans to their knees. Nancy wants to dress more a bit respectful. He looks like a down and out. How does he look like a down and out? Oh my god, honestly, I think players can be registered any time before the game. No, yes, they can, but they need to get time on the pitch. Can you just bring someone in? You can't just give up. It's only January. Yeah, and that's the final comment of the day. We can't just give up. It is only January. No matter what, we always look on the bright side of life. Big thank you to Tony Stewart asking about Danny Cassie. Danny, if you're watching, drop us a little comment. I know that you commented about 2 or 3 days ago. Maybe you're just been on a bender. Don't know. And Stephen Johnson, legend as always, just getting us off with a bang. And then Brian says, if Nancy stays, the board have to back him. If they're not backing him, sack him, which I think has been yeah. He looks like a fisherman's friend in that roll neck. Leave the manager alone. Give him at least a couple of days off of stick, and then ramp it up tomorrow. On that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are. The treble days at Celtic are over. The board have went in full Ronnie dial a mode. I can understand why they did bring in the first signing, and because it's an area of the pitch that we've been lacking a decent player, and maybe it's just let's save the money to the summer. Who knows? On that note, have a fantastic day. There has been over 928 comments this morning, and there has also been over 2,500 people on the live. Not bad way to start the day. Anyway, see you after the manager's press conference this afternoon. That's going to be a laugh, isn't it?